So Radharaman Prabhu asked this question that, if I stated properly, that Krishna, here when he went to save Arjuna from Bhishma Dev, he took the wheel of the chariot and threatened him. And he's saying, why didn't he show his sweetness, his beauty, his sweetness, and charm him that way? So we have to understand something about the nature of devotion. And repeatedly, the pastimes like to shine a spotlight on the Lord coming under the control of the devotion of a particular devotee. Or in Guru Maharaj's words, the infinite coming under the control of the finite. The infinite becoming subordinate to the finite. We say the will of Krishna is supreme. He's the supreme absolute. He's omniscient, omnipotent, omni in every way imaginable. The beginning of the Bhagavatam says, Janmad yasya yaton vayad itratas cha arteshu abhignat swarat. That he, reality is for itself and by itself. He alone knows the purpose of all of his movements. But there's some hint here always for everything. So it says, Janmad yasya yataha. The Chakravarti Thakur's parsing is Madhura Rasa connection. There will always be the sweetness in the background, but different types of sweetness. So, what we say, the will, this is the point of devotion. The will of Krishna is supreme. Say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of God. Right? Reality is for itself, by itself. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. Everything's meant to please him, ultimately. He's the bhokta, the enjoyer. We say supreme enjoyer. But interestingly, on this topic, Srila Guru Maharaj has said that the Vaishnavas have this saying when they inquire from one another, how are you? They respond by saying, as you keep me. Right? The way you're seeing me, viewing me, observing me, as I'm kept in your heart, that's how I am. That's what my position is. They're deferring to the other Vaishnava. Right? So, Guru Maharaj makes the point that although we think the will of Krishna is supreme, the will of the devotee is taken as being higher in this sense. Because of Krishna being Bhakta Vatsala, being in love with his devotees, has so much love and affection for his devotees, that what they want, that will trump the will of Krishna even. So Narottam Thakur and all others in the line, they're saying, Ashraya loya bhaje tare Krishna nahi taje akarane something gelo, marane gelo. Don't try to go to Krishna direct, but take shelter of his devotee. Then you get Krishna automatically because of Krishna's slavery to his slaves. Once someone was trying to say that, and explain, when Gaudiya Ma was accused of promoting slavery. Right? Saying what they're this Krishna Das and Dasi, it's slave girl, slave, all slave, and not even directly the slave, but slave of the slave. So the British said, and we're humanists. We tried to eliminate this sort of idea, hundreds of years ago with the introduction of humanism. And but Saraswati Thakur's response, he said, no, Gaudiya Math stands for the dignity of the human race. To be the slave of Krishna, the servant of Krishna, that's not a low position. It is a very high position. But sometimes people shy away from that word. Servant has a nicer ring to it. Or they try and act as apologists saying, no, that's not what he was saying. No, it is what he was saying. I can show you 108 references in the talks of Srila Guru Maharaj where he's using the word slave. Happy dancing slaves of Krishna. We are meant to be the slaves of Krishna. Slavery is the only position to approach him. So then we all get nervous and worried and think, who can we tell this to? But we need to hear the full picture. Ye yatam mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham. This is why no less a word than slavery can be used. That sort of giving over, Rupa Goswami quotes Jiva saying, like a sold animal, like when Gurudev offered himself to Guru Maharaj and said, I am your goat. If it pleases you to cut off my tail, you can do that. Or you can slit my throat. I'm your goat. Whatever you want, you can do with me. It's not that conditionally, I'm yours. Unconditionally, I'm yours. Why is this so important? Because Krishna is reciprocating the devotion of the devotee. So for those who offer themselves as slaves to Krishna, Krishna becomes their slave. That's what he reciprocates with them. That's how bound he is by the love and affection of the devotees. So when the ladies, the elderly gopis in Vrindavan, they tell Krishna, dance, Gopal, dance. We want to see you dance. He starts dancing to make them happy. Gopal, hand me that. Sometimes, and then he goes and brings them, but sometimes they ask him to pick up something that's too heavy. So he just touches it like that. But sometimes he's strong. I'm very strong. He's omnipotent. It's the supreme reality. But he's a plaything in the hands of the Braja Gopis. They make him dance, sing, and play in different ways. And happily, he's their plaything, their puppet. So for those who offer themselves and abject slavery to Krishna, he reciprocates by becoming their slave. We give half-hearted approach, half-hearted response. But so what would be the most intense way you could offer yourself? Slave. That's the operative word. And Guru Maharaj said, I'm not even directly slave. Slave of the slave of the slave. Das anudas anudas. Gopi Bartur. Parakamalayo das anudas. So, in this pastime, Krishna has already consented to be the charioteer of Arjuna. So when Arjuna says, what is it? Senayor upayor madhye ratam stapita achyuta. Achyuta. There's place my chariot, drive my chariot between the two armies. Arjuna telling Krishna, and Krishna's famous, Partha Sarati, Sarati. So the Guru or Arhatvan Hi Mahanubhavan. Arjun's guru's on the other side. It's a very intense, complex drama. But nonetheless, Duryodhana, he thinks that the Bhishma Dev has some lingering affection for Arjun, so that he's not fighting at full strength, and accuses him of not giving his full power and ability, because you have too much affection for Arjun, so you're holding back. And what little we can understand of Kshatriyas, that is the way to get the Kshatriya blood flowing. And so Bhishma Dev is saying, you think so? So tomorrow, before the sun sets, Arjun will be dead, or Krishna will have to break his promise. My promise is I'll kill him. The only way this is going to happen, either what I say will be true, or Krishna will have to break his promise. What was Krishna's promise? That he won't fight, that he won't interfere, he won't intervene in this war. Right? And so that time comes, and because also Krishna is sometimes using his omniscience to play like tricks. As we know, before he had some arrows meant for each Pandava, and they'd also, these Kshatriyas, they're very generous and chivalrous in their dealings. They offer favors to one another. They fight during the day, and then the camps sometimes mix at night. And then one time, Yudhisthira's Krishna told him, go, there's a favor that is owed you. You go to that camp. Now's the time to ask for your favor. And when he approaches, they respond to him by saying, if you want this war to be over, just say, like we'll say, you won. We're prepared to do that. These are Kshatriya. They say, if that's what you want, you just come and say, it's over, and we're prepared, whatever it is you want. Of course, they will never ask for such a thing. So what would you like? He said, we want those 5 arrows. That's all. Those arrows meant for Yudhisthira, Arjun, Bhima, Nakul, Sahadev. Take those arrows away. So Bhishma Dev, he's infuriated, and now Duryodhana has insulted him, questioned his loyalty, etc. So he's saying, tomorrow Arjun will be dead. And the time comes, and the fighting, and Arjun chariot breaking down, and Bhishma is ready to kill Arjun. Right? Bhishma Dev, he is also Krishna's devotee, great devotee. He's one of the 12 Mahajans. And Arjun is a great devotee. Krishna and Arjun. And Krishna becomes so angry, like divine anger. He's going to now kill his beloved Arjun. That Krishna takes the wheel off of the chariot like a chakra, and he comes to kill Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev is so, in his heart, experiencing joy. And he's shooting arrows at Krishna, and the arrows are hitting Krishna. But because of Bhishma Dev's love for Krishna, those arrows are like flower garlands. It's like flowers being offered to Krishna in the form of arrows, which is very interesting because of the Pushpaban. Right? So he's shooting arrows, looks like Krishna is bleeding, getting hit. One of the commentators, Chakrabarti Thakur, says like love bites. bites in lovemaking. It's a loving transaction going on between Krishna and Bhishma Dev, and Krishna's coming with this big wheel. He's going to crush. He's so angry, his dhoti falls off, and he doesn't care. And he's coming, and Bhishma Dev saying, he looks so beautiful like this with the wheel. He's loving every moment of this. And he's thinking, oh, this is such a beautiful scene. And my Lord is so merciful and kind and loving and affectionate, because to maintain my vow, I said he'll have to break his promise. The only way you can stop me is he'll have to break his promise, but I won't break mine. Now he's breaking his promise to keep my promise intact. That's why Krishna is responding that way. He's reciprocating the affection of his devotee. So, that Bhishma Dev, when he's lying later on the bed of arrows, created by Arjuna, it's recorded in the Bhagavatam, he's meditating on this vision of Krishna coming after him with the what? Eka Chakra. You know the place of Gaur Nitai and Nityananda Prabhu? Eka Chakra. They say it has, multi-dimensional pastimes. This wheel, sometimes they say that's where the wheel landed at some point. Anyway, so Bhishma Dev is saying, may I just, that vision of him running at me with the wheel, so angry and looking so beautiful, sweat coming down and his dhoti falling, and that type of furious nature is so beautiful to me. Let me remember that always in my heart. And even more interestingly, that Bhishma Dev, he mentions the Braja Gopis, that Krishna, and another capacity, so he must know he is Bhishma Dev, he's one of the 12 Mahajans. Do we dare to think for a moment they don't know what we think we know? So he is encrypted in those slokas are many, many different things, even references to the highest devotees, the greatest devotees. So, but interestingly, in connection with what you say, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna appears in Mathura to Vasudeva and Devaki, when he's born there, we know initially he appears as a four-armed Vishnu form. Maybe like baby-like form, I don't know, but four-armed Vishnu form. And maybe not baby-like, but I think Vishnu-like. There's no babies in Vaikuntha. But anyway, Devaki and her divine madness, she's saying, oh, you need to look like a human baby. Otherwise, Kamsa will kill you. But she's not thinking, if he's four-armed Vishnu, how can Kamsa kill him? But she's thinking, if he sees I have a four-armed, son. Anyway, she's pleading with him like that, and Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur says that Krishna says, no, but when he comes, he'll see how sweet and beautiful and charming I look. And she's going, no, he won't. He's not going to see you that way. Because he's under the influence of demonic thought. He won't see your sweetness. Right? We're told Krishna, he's sweetness personified. When he pushed his fist and arm down the throat of the Keshi demon, it's mentioned there that Keshi wasn't like thinking this is sweet. Oh, how sweet is Krishna. But it said like a hot iron, because he couldn't appreciate his sweetness. So some comparison is made, we cannot relish the holy name of Krishna because we're suffering from jaundice, are the jaundice of avidya. So the tongue can't relish the sweetness. When I was on my way out of India in 1974, and I got sick in the last week or so, and I didn't realize, but I had jaundice at one point. My hepatitis had turned into jaundice at some level or whatever. But one of the ways I found out with a friend of mine, like at Mohan Singh Market, and we ordered these like banana milkshakes. And I started drinking this milkshake, and I went, ugh. And I thought that someone had poured like gasoline in it or something. And so I said, you know, I think they did something wrong to this one. And he was already beginning to, my behavior was becoming more and more bizarre in the last few days. I was, what's the word, delirious because of different sickness. So he said, really? Because he had one, he said, like, mine tastes okay. I said, no, this like they put poison in it or something. He said, oh, let me try it, you know. And he went, it was equally as sweet as his. Then I realized, oh, this is that example that what you taste will taste bitter. We thought, here in the example, it would just be like rock candy or sugar, but it meant anything that was sweet. It could be sweet orange juice, or the sweetness of this milkshake, or anything sweet tasted horrible. So this is the point. Is it that that substance is bitter and repulsive, or the tongue afflicted by jaundice can't relish the sweetness? So Rupa Goswami is saying our tongue, afflicted by ignorance, can't relish the sweetness of the holy name of Krishna. So Devaki arguing with Krishna, saying, no, because Krishna is teasing her, saying, oh, Kamsa, he'll see how beautiful and sweet I am, everything will be okay. She's saying, no, he's not going to appreciate your sweetness. He doesn't have that capacity right now. So there are this Madhura Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Dasya Rasa, Shanta Rasa, and subsidiary. So in this pastime, from different points of view, there might be some gora, some horror in there, but it's in a, how do you say, relishable form. Krishna, he's reciprocating the devotion of Bhishma Dev. That's why he is moving in that way. Think of it as the Lord under the control of the devotee, what I said initially. So the will of the devotee, Krishna is respecting that and honoring that. It's part of Akila Rasamrita Murti. You say, he can reciprocate all rasa, not one particular, all of them. So to accommodate all the devotees, that's why there are so many different forms, avatars, incarnations, prakash, manifestations, to reciprocate their devotion. Or then we're told, Devi Krishna Mayi Prokta Radhika Sarvadadika Mahabhava Swarupayam Guna Atir Varishasi Krishna Mayi Srimati Radharani Mahabhav Rasaraj. She, Hladini Shakti, Mahabhav Swarupini Radha Thakurani, to the extreme. She is capable of fully giving Krishna, full Krishna. Krishna to the extreme. And her presence and the presence of her devotion is the predominated moiety, the supreme counterpart of Krishna, the supreme negative, who can attract the supreme positive and full. Hladani Shakti, and Karan, what does it say? Pushti Karan. She's the cause of also nourishing the devotees with what she extracts from Krishna. And many things could be said. This is also Krishna on Kurukshetra. So that is not Krishna in his sweetest possible configuration. The Madhura Rasa pastimes are the domain of Madhura Rasa pastimes is Vrindavan.